Golf Central on YouTube is brought to you by the new elite family of woods and irons from Callaway.
Greetings and welcome into Golf Central. Steve Burkowski with you. We've got a lot to cover on this Tuesday. The PGA Tour back in Texas. The Arnold Palmer Cup teams have been selected. And keeping with that team theme, big President's Cup news has been announced today. Last September, the U.S. won the President's Cup at Royal Montreal, defeating the international team 18.5 to 11.5 under the captaincy of Jim Furyk. The victory marked the 10th straight win in the biennial competition for the United States. Today, though, Brandt Snedeker and Geoff Ogilvy have been named captains for the U.S. and international teams for the 2026 event. Snedeker, he represented the U.S. team in the 2013 President's Cup, while Ogilvy, he played on 3 consecutive international teams in 2007, 2009, and 2011. The 16th President's Cup will be contested at Medina Country Club's course number 3. That is in September of 2026. Let's take a deeper look at Brandt Snedeker. He was a captain's assistant in last year's President's Cup and is slated to serve as a vice captain later this year at the Ryder Cup. He has 9 career PGA Tour wins, including the 2012 Tour Championship, where he also won the FedEx Cup. A former standout at Vanderbilt University, Snedeker is one of 14 players in PGA Tour history to card a sub-60 round. Following today's announcement, Snedeker joined Golf Today.
You know, this is something that I've always dreamed about doing. Being part of these teams is such a special honor, such a special week. And when they came to me with this idea, I jumped at the opportunity. You know, this is to host a President's Cup on U.S. soil, to have it be at Medina, where I've got some history, is something that I relish the opportunity to get our guys ready to play there next year, and looking forward to kind of learning a lot from Keegan this year at the Ryder Cup and getting to know the guys a little bit better and being ready to go for Chicago in 2026.
A job like this, Brandt, comes with a lot of second guessing, certainly within the golf world, certainly within the golf media as well. You've played under different captains. You know, Davis Love a couple of times. You played the President's Cup for Freddie Couples. Have you learned something from how those guys handled the broader picture of this job that you're going to learn from for this particular run yourself?
Yeah, I think I learned a lot from everybody I've been fortunate to be under. Learned a lot from Jim last year in Montreal about the process being my first vice captaincy and understanding how different this is. You know, it's way different than playing. It's obviously a lot more time commitment, but also a lot more scrutiny goes with this. And so I kind of understand what I'm going in this with eyes wide open, realizing that every decision I make is going to be an important one, and I'm going to make sure I take my time to figure out the best path possible for this team and how it's going to look. And so I relish this. I think it's going to be a great opportunity for our guys to come play a completely redesigned Medina, which Geoff Ogilvy just got done doing last year, and it looks phenomenal. So I look forward for our guys to be able to see it, and understanding that this is going to be a tough test. You know, all these team competitions come down to a few putts here or there, and just want my guys to have a lot of fun, take as much off their plate as possible, and understand that I'm trying to do everything in the world for them, and know I got their backs no matter what.
International team captain Geoff Ogilvy served as a captain's assistant in the last 4 iterations of the event. And the Australian, he has 8 career PGA Tour victories, including the 2006 U.S. Open, in addition to winning 2 of Australia's biggest titles, the 2008 Australian PGA and 2010 Australian Open. He also took time to join Golf Today this afternoon.
Geoff, you've talked about this being your favorite event, the 7 weeks that you've participated. I did the trophy ceremony. I was hosting the United States team at Royal Montreal. I looked off to the side into the eyes of Mike Weir, and he just looked absolutely devastated with the defeat. How tough have these losses been every 2 years? Excitement, hope, and the result has been the same.
It's pretty brutal. You ride highs and lows. I mean, professional golf as a sport is a bit of an emotional roller coaster, ups and downs, and good times and bad times. But they're certainly sort of highlighted and just magnified in a week like these team events, because you feel like you're letting your teammates down. There's a lot of pressure. You feel you're letting your nations down. The whole world is watching. They're difficult, they're times, but that's what makes these events so great, is that you're playing for more than just yourself. And there's such a magnitude to that really doesn't strike you until you get out between the ropes and you just sort of feel what that feels like. So I haven't felt what it feels like to win this tournament like you referenced. It's 1998. I watched that. That was just after I turned professional at Royal Melbourne, near where I grew up. And I watched those boys win that tournament, and that looked like a lot of fun. And that probably sort of ignited the fire for me with the President's Cup, seeing us win that so well. And that was a team of legends with Norman and Price and Vijay Singh and Ernie Els, and Peter Thompson was the captain. And so that was a really good start to my sort of President's Cup career, watching that from outside the ropes as a kid. So, yeah, we'll crack the riddle one day. And it's really brutal when you lose these team tournaments, but I can only imagine the opposite feeling of elation when you win would be really satisfying and rewarding.
And with that, we say hello to Todd Lewis to talk all things PGA Tour related. Todd, let's first start with the President's Cup news. What's your reaction to the captains that were named today?
Well, one, I'm not surprised. A little bit of a surprise with Brandt Snedeker. We'll start with the international captain, Geoff Ogilvy. I had a chance to talk to the last three international captains, some via text, but I actually had a conversation with who is considered now the godfather of the international team in the modern era, and that is Ernie Els. And he's the one who, like Geoff said, created the shield, created the symbol that all of the players across the planet can rally behind, put them in Warrior Black. And he set up this system to have himself as captain at Royal Melbourne, then move to Trevor Immelman, then to Mike Weir. And he says that Geoff is very smart, and it is his turn. I talked to the other captains. I mentioned Trevor Immelman. Here's what he had to say about his longtime friend, Geoff Ogilvy. He said, he's high golf IQ and conviction in his beliefs are going to stand him in good stead throughout his time as our captain. As for Mike Weir, the last captain who led the international squad at Royal Montreal, he said, I'd say Geoff's unique insights and strategies that helped him be a formidable match player can be a great guide to some of the younger players. He's got a winning record, Geoff Ogilvy does, in the President's Cup. You don't see a lot of international players with a winning record. As for Brandt Snedeker, as I said, a little bit of a surprise there, but I'm not saying that Brandt is not capable or not deserving. When I say it's a surprise, he's only been a vice captain once, and that was at Royal Montreal. But what he does bring is intelligence. They don't let just anybody in Vanderbilt. Secondly, he brings quite a bit of passion and connectivity to the PGA Tour players that are out there competing today. He's in his mid-40s. He still competes. He's competing here this week. So I think that Brandt Snedeker is going to bring a lot of energy to that United States team room, and it's going to be a fun watch, the President's Cup at Medina.
Let me follow up on Snedeker. He gets the nod today. How does that potentially open up the door for him leading other American teams in the future?
Well, I kind of look at not only with the President's Cup, but you go back to Keegan Bradley being named the Ryder Cup captain, where it seems like these U.S. teams are now kind of going younger, under 50, I would say that. I think, obviously, this is a good testing ground for Brandt Snedeker, see how he does as the captain of the United States team, if he indeed wants to also become a Ryder Cup captain as well. But also players that have been vice captains in their 40s may potentially follow Brandt Snedeker as a captain, like Kevin Kesner, Webb Simpson, who have been vice captains before.
Medina Country Club, just outside of Chicago, will be the host site of the 2026 President's Cup, and the competition will get underway in late September of next year as the United States will look to maintain its dominance over the international team. And earlier today, Brandt Snedeker and Geoff Ogilvy were named captains for the U.S. and international teams, respectively, for the 2026 event.